We all know that shirt numbers conform to a specific standard. Your goalie's number 1, your defenders are anything from 2 to 6, and the rest of your team up to 11 with your strikers at 9 or 10. There might be the odd deviation, but it's all pretty simples, right?
Simples.
Wrong. Some awkward players go against the grain and have weird and unexpected shirt numbers, so I thought, why not do a video of the weirdest shirt numbers counting up? So that's what this is. No further intros needed, but I'll be going up to 20 in order, then naming a few more and beyond.
Right then, let's get started with number 1. In fact, nah, that's too predictable. Let's start with 0.
Hicham Zerouali was nicknamed Zero for obvious reasons, and when he joined Aberdeen he took the shirt number 0, because why not? He didn't wear it the following season though, as the Grumps in charge banned the number from being used, and sadly Zerouali died in the car crash in 2004, aged 27. Derek Riordan couldn't make his mind up who to play for as he moved to Celtic from Hibs then back again, but on returning to Hibs, Colin Nish had stolen his number 10 shirt, so he did the sensible thing and just reversed the numbers. But he's not the only player to wear 0-1, as Rogerio Ceni did for Sao Paulo, but he can get away with it as he was so good and scored more goals as a keeper than Riordan did as a striker. Staying with number 1, Ozzy Diaz is widely known for wearing number 1 for Argentina during the 1982 World Cup, a weird choice for a midfielder, but if you look at all the squad numbers you'll see not many made real sense, the reason being that Argentina's numbers were given alphabetically, except for Maradona Ops, who was probably away doing some lines at the time and was given his favourite number 10. Another number 1 was Edgar Davids when he joined Barnet, who chose the number because he wanted to start a trend in doing so. He didn't, although Jonathan de Guzman seemed to jump on the trend when he joined Chievo, and after striker Daniel Panchu had to play in goal when keeper Oscar Cordoba got sent off, he wore the number 1 the following season, as a striker, because why not?
Carlos Roa, the nutty keeper who retired in 1999 to prepare for the apocalypse, then came back again when that didn't happen, modified his number 13 shirt to read 1.3, possibly for religious reasons, as apparently 1 equals Jesus and 3 equals the Holy Trinity. Yeah, moving on.
Number 2 seems popular amongst goalkeepers, with Joe Wildsmith and Billy Mercer wearing the number 2, presumably because they couldn't be number 1, so just chose the next closest number, and Emiliano Viviano wearing it at Sampdoria because, I quote, he doesn't like high numbers, although I can think of a lower number, 1. The number mostly attributed to a defender has also been popular with attacking players such as Clint Dempsey, who wore number 2 in college so decided to keep it. Wilfred Bonney wore number 2 at Swansea. It was his second spell at the club and he wanted to achieve more with them. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Pretty much the same reason Sandro Wagner chose 2 when he joined Bayern for a second spell. Spoiler alert, he didn't achieve more either.
And Mehdi Mardavicchio wore number 2 in the 90s for Iran. He was apparently given the number due to 2 players being banned on doping charges and the manager dropping Mardavicchio back to cover. And he wore number 2 for Iran from then on, although I'm not sure that really answers it, but anyway.
Number 3 was popular with strikers such as Asamoah Gyan, who explained that he wore the number as a teenager and that it's a powerful number, and Nicholas Bentner wore 3 at Wolfsburg as his mom chose it.
And Mohamed Kalon chose it at Inter as all his favourite numbers were taken by lesser players such as Recoba and Ronaldo and Seedorf, but he wore number 2 for Regina, so he's no stranger to odd numbers.
Staying with low numbers for strikers, Nwankwo Kanu wore number 4 due to his brother wearing it, as did his hero Stephen Keshi, who won the AFCON as both player and manager.
And Emmanuel Adebayor wore number 4 for Togo, as Kanu was one of his idols, and Hal Robson-Kanu not only wore 4 for the same reason, but also went a step further and stole his name too.
Milan Barros and Samuel Eto'o have 2 things in common, both Champions League winning strikers, both wore number 5 for a while, that's roughly where the similarities end, and Diego Forlan won a golden boot wearing number 5 as that was the only number available. Emmanuel Adebayor makes another appearance in this list as he wore number 6 for Madrid, as that was the only number left when he joined, which is convenient as that's roughly how many goals he ended up scoring for them, and striker Darren Huckabee also wore number 6, for Norwich that is, not Madrid. Number 7 was worn by Paul Steltery for some bizarre reason, a right back who won the Bundesliga but was a little less successful at Spurs, as everybody is. Glenn Johnson chose number 8 when he joined Stoke in 2015, which was due to limited number availability, and a goalkeeper has also worn number 8 in a World Cup final when Jan Youngblood wore it for the Netherlands in 1974, as they had the same alphabetical numbering system as Argentina did 8 years later. And speaking of goalkeepers wearing 8, World Cup specialist Guillermo Ochoa wore 8 at Liège, as his surname is similar to 8 in Spanish, but he's no stranger to odd numbers himself as he wore number 6 at Club America.
And a list of nutty numbers wouldn't be complete without one of the nuttiest keepers ever, Jorge Campos, who was sometimes used as a striker and was that good at it he wore number 9, scoring nearly 50 goals in his club career, significantly more than Khalid Boularus, so no idea why the centre-back took the number 9 after Crespo left. Then when he left Chelsea he gave the number 9 to Steve Sidwell, who was the complete opposite of a number 9, a midfielder who only scored once for them. Moving into double digits, number 10 is associated with great players such as Maradona, Pele and Zico, and also William Gallas, who wore number 10 after Bergkamp to prevent any strikers being compared to the Dutchman.
Cristiano Lupitelli was a keeper who won the Scudetto with Roma in 2001, after which he moved to Chievo and wore the number 10 shirt following a bet he had made with friends, which I'm guessing he won. And Brazilian midfielder Fernando Sobral wore number 10, which isn't that weird until you realise that his team were taking sponsorship to a whole new level by advertising products from a local supermarket on their shirts, complete with prices.
Rui Patricio shows another keeper who wore an odd number, although this is for a more heartwarming reason. When Cardi Caimo was battling leukemia, he wanted to leave the number 1 shirt vacant as a sign of respect, so he chose 2 number 1s, number 11.
Vadim Demidov also wore 11 in central defence after starting in midfield but getting moved back, almost as odd as seeing a number 7 at centre back like Martin Caceres, as that was the only number available at Levante. And on the subject of defenders wearing 11, Ricardo Carvalho wore the number at Madrid, but in his defence he's not great with numbers.
One of the world's deadliest strikers, Marco van Basten, wore 12 for a couple of years with the Netherlands as he was backup striker to number 9 John Bosman, even after his fluky volley. Thierry Henry wore 12 for La France as that's the amount of times he handled the ball against Ireland, and also because of his idol Marco van Basten. And Juan Pablo Serene wore 1+2 at Villarreal, otherwise known as 12, because his preferred number 3 was taken. Thomas Müller wore 13 for Germany, as apparently he's the only person in the world who's lucky numbers 13, and Gerd Müller also wore 13, although Thomas later switched to a more sensible number 25.
Eusebio was number 10 for Benfica, but for Portugal he was 13.
And Michael Ballack wore 13 for the majority of his career due to the influence of Rudi Voller on his career. Johan Cruyff wore 14 at Ajax as he gave a teammate his number 9 shirt as he couldn't find his own, and then he wore 14 to piss off the authorities as they still insisted on numbers 1 to 11, although Cruyff didn't actually wear the number that often.
Thierry Henry's back as he took number 14 at Arsenal, only because his preferred number 12 was being worn by the legendary Christopher Wreh, which is better than what he did for Juve when number 12 was taken, so he picked 6. Yes, Thierry Henry wearing number 6.
And keeper Marco 14 wore number 14 because his name in English translates as 14, which is a bit sad if you ask me, but each to their own. Nemanja Vidic wore number 15, as did Daniel Sturridge, because that's probably how many betting rules he broke each day.
Roy Keane wore number 16 as suggested by Fergie, as did his successful Michael Carrick, and Aguero wore it in his first few seasons at City in honour of Maradona. No, not that one, his missus, Giannina Maradona. 2 of the greatest midfielders in history have worn number 17. First Kevin De Bruyne, as when he moved to City the numbers 10 and 7 were taken, so he just mashed them together to make 17. And Frank Rijkaard wore 17, probably to signify how many times he spat at Rudi Voller.
One of the most famous number 18 is Ivan Zamorano, as he gave his number 9 to the OG Ronaldo when he joined Inter. So clever little Ivan took 1+8, or rather 18 with a plus sign in the middle.
Diego Costa wears 19, probably because that's how many fights he starts each match, and Hernan Crespo wore it a few times with Argentina.
And number 20 is worn by 2 exciting players. Vinicius Junior wore 20 as he wore it at Flamengo and considers it lucky before he changed to number 7, and the other is Danny Ings. Moving on. If you're enjoying this video so far, I ask that you consider liking and maybe even subscribing. It's dead easy, just click below. I aim to make football videos that aren't boring, so it's well worth you subscribing if I do say so myself. But anyway, moving on.
21 was worn by some great midfielders such as Andrea Pirlo, as it's his favourite number.
David Silva wore it simply because Pablo Aimar wore it at Valencia, and Zidane wore it for Juventus before he switched to a more conventional number when he moved to Madrid, number 5, which he wore as Figo was already number 10 and Zidane was half the player Figo was. Only joking.
Number 22 was worn for a while by Dani Alves as a tribute to Eric Abidal, who had previously worn 22 and battled liver cancer during his time at Barca. Even more bizarre is that he wore number 10 when he joined Sao Paulo.
Kaká also wore the number 22 at AC Milan because it was his lucky number as he'd worn it throughout his career, and 22 is also Jude Bellingham's number as he can play as a 4 and an 8 and a 10, which all add up to 22, although knowing Southgate he'd probably play him at left back.
David Beckham's one of the most famous number 23s, as when he moved to Madrid he couldn't have number 7 as Raul had it, so he took number 23 in admiration for Michael Jordan, who wore it in the NBA and had recently retired.
John Terry wore number 26 as he broke into the Chelsea team, which I thought was the amount of appearances he'd made in Wayne Bridges' bedroom, but he wore 26 as he thought it'd be unfair on those who'd already bought shirts, so that's nice of him, although the rumour is that he picked it to sit next to Gianfranco Zola in the locker room, which doesn't sound so nice of him.
Kai Havertz wears 29 as a tribute to his brother, who always wore 29 on FIFA or Pro Evo when they were kids, and Morata picked 29 as his twins are born on the 29th, and that's roughly how many times he gets caught offside each match. Leo Messi wore 30 at PSG as Neymar already had number 10, so he chose number 30 as that's how many Ballon d'Ors he's won, and also the number he wore when he first got into the Barca team. A few number 32s with Carlos Tevez, who wore it as a tribute to MJ but in reverse, and Joel Matip wore 32 at Schalke before joining Liverpool. David Beckham was given 32 at AC Milan and PSG, the opposite of the number 23 he wore at Madrid. And finally Wazza wore it at Derby, likely due to their sponsor, 32 red. Number 33 is worn by Dan Burn as he wore it at Fulham, Wigan and Brighton, and also by Alexander Melgovis, who chose the number as an homage to his favourite pub, Cafe 33 in Oslo, which I wouldn't do as I met my wife in a pub called The Cock, so I'd guess I'd be wearing number 010 or something.
Donny van der Beek wears 34, not because that's how many minutes he's played since joining, but as as a tribute to ex-teammate Abdelak Nouri, who wore the number and collapsed in 2017 when he was left with severe and permanent brain damage and unable to carry on with his career. And many Ajax graduates have worn this number in tribute, including Justin Kluivert. Number 37 is worn by Milan Skriniar, who played in Milan but doesn't anymore, but wears 37 as his favourite number 17, and also wore number 3 when he started his career with Slovakia. So they mixed the two and somehow came out with 37. Martin Skrtel also wore it, who had a similarly boring story, as his lucky number was 3 and his girlfriend's was 7.
Number 39 was worn by Lassalk, who chose 39. It was only one of 3 numbers available when he joined City and decided to keep it after that. And Spain slayer Scott McTominay inherited number 39 from Marcus Rashford. Bruno Guimaraes also wears 39 as a tribute to his dad, who was a taxi driver when his dispatch number was 039. Declan Rice wears number 41 because it was a number he was given in the academy by the kitman, and he says that Rice 41 has a nice ring to it. It doesn't really, but whatever.
Yaya Toure wanted number 24 when he first moved to City, although that number was taken by Patrick Vieira. Instead, Yaya reversed the numbers when personally I'd have preferred the two to fight for it.
Stephen Bywater wore 43 in a tribute to his mentor Les Sealey, who died at that age. When Ivan Perisic moved to Inter, he couldn't wear his preferred number 9 as Mauro Icardi had it, and couldn't wear his second option number 4 as Inter had retired that shirt in honour of Javier Zanetti. As a result, Perisic just chose to wear 44, which is just the number 4 twice. Dejan Kulusevski also wore the number as a tribute to, hang on, try not to laugh, I'm not joking with this one, Adnan Januzaj, who wore that number at Man United. Super Mario Balotelli chose 45 as a youth player, as 4 plus 5 equals 9, and as he scored in his first 4 matches at Inter, he believed that number brought him luck. Coincidentally, 45 is also the number of fireworks he lets off inside houses. Phil Foden has stuck with 47 from when he made his senior debut, with 47 being a tribute to his granddad, who passed away at that age.
Rudolf Scatchel wore 51 when he joined Dundee United for the rather unique reason to piss off Hibs fans, so they'd just lost to Hearts 5-1 in the Scottish Cup final, an action that Dundee had to apologise to Hibs for, which makes me wonder if they were that bothered why let him have it in the first place, but anyway. Lord Nicholas Bentner wore 52 as it was a special number to him personally, although it appears he's never explained why, but I reckon it's the amount of people he scarred for life when he uploaded this picture to Twitter. Trent wears 66 as its number given to him by the kitman, as they don't want young players having low numbers so that they don't think they've made it before they actually have, and Trent has kept it since.
Mesut Ozil wore 67 at Fenerbahce as an homage to his hometown postcode, and Vicente Lizarazu not only has an odd name but also an odd number when he chose 69, which wasn't for any reason you're thinking of, but the number 69 has a common theme in his life. He was 1.69 metres tall, weighed 69 kilos and was born in 1969. Kelechi Iheanacho took a lead out of Balotelli's book when he chose 72 with 7 plus 2 equals 9, and Mo Salah wore 74 when he joined Fiorentina as a tribute to the 74 people who died in the Port Said disaster in 2012. When Andrei Shevchenko went back to Milan after smashing it up at Chelsea, he chose 76, he was born in 76. Number 77 is another number worn by Andreas Gerlitz, which he wore to promote his band, Room 77, which I'm guessing failed as nobody seems to have heard of them. When Ronaldinho moved to Milan, he couldn't have his usual number 10 as Clarence Seedorf was hogging it, and instead of saying, "Look Clarence, I'm the one with the Ballon d'Or, give me the number 10, instead Seedorf mugged him right off and he chose number 80 as an homage to the year he was born.
He then wore number 49 later in his career, as that's how many fake passports he owns, and also as a tribute to his mum, who was born in 1949.
Mathieu Flamini wore the number 84 on his shirt to represent his year of birth, which coincidentally is also the number of billions he has in his bank account right now. Gary Hooper was born in 1988, so he's always worn number 88 when possible, which is a bit boring. And Gianluigi Buffon also wore number 88, which I thought was because that's how old he is now, but turns out that number 88 reminds him of 4 balls, in other words strength and determination, which he chose as Serie A wouldn't let him have the number 00. Yes, the league that's openly racist draws the line at a squad number. The following year, his last at Parma, he changed his number to 77, the year of his birth, which is exactly what Stefan Al-Serrari did when he chose number 92, and Gianluigi Donnarumma when he chose 99, just like his brother Antonio when he chose 90. Another keeper who wore 99 was Vitor Baia, as the number 1 was taken when he returned to Porto. Similar story with Ronaldo, as Inzaghi wore 9 at Milan, so Rodney chose 99. And finally, for the number with a flake, Arkadiusz Milik wore the number 99 at Napoli, as apparently he wore the number 9 at Ajax and wanted to wear a number that was similar but not the same. Yeah, I can't figure that one out either. Adolfo Bautista was a Mexican striker who wore number 100 for a few seasons to commemorate Chivas' 100th birthday. The same reason Blanco wore 100 at Club America, although in following seasons for some reason Bautista swapped to 99 and then won, presumably as they both had up to 100. What a strange bloke.
What a strange person.
Whilst it's true that young players making their first start tend to have a high number, Tommy Orr took it one step further when he wore number 121 on his Australia debut.
Which I'd love to tell you was for some highly amusing reason, but was actually down to some complicated way of how the Australian FA registered the players' numbers, or at least that's the story he gave in the interview.
And finally, high numbers are quite common in Mexico, as Liga MX forces all players from the under-13s upwards to have squad numbers, which is why current Ajax talent Edson Alvarez played with a number 282.
So that's it.
Thanks so much for watching if you made it this far. I had fun researching this and making it.
I've tried to include a few unique players or numbers, but I'm sure there's many I've left out. Who do you think I've left out? Leave a message in the comments berating me and saying, you've left this player out, or you've left that player out. But anyway, I'm only joking.
Shirt numbers is quite a boring video, but I've tried to inject a little bit of humour into it, so if you like that, I'll appreciate it. I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Why should you subscribe to me? Well, I've got lots of videos planned, and also because I know my shit and I'm hilarious. No, but seriously, subscribe to me, do it. Regardless if you choose to or not, thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Have a great day.